What is up, my friends? Welcome back here to Call of Dragons. I know you're looking for this type of content. Today we're going to talk about what is the best faction in Call of Dragons. Now, we have three factions here. We have the Springwardens, we have the League of Order, and we have the Wilderburg. Now, my name is Shinchi42. If you guys are playing Call of Dragons and you like to see more Call of Dragons content, I highly recommend that you consider subscribing to this channel and turn your notification on so that whenever we upload a new video, you are going to get notified. There's a bell icon beside the notification. If you turn that on, you will get notified from YouTube. You can also join our Discord. If you join our Discord, the Discord will also notify you because sometimes YouTube is not very reliable. Also, if you find this video to be helpful, I do appreciate it if you guys can drop a like for this one. Now, also one more thing is that as you guys can see, I am playing this game on a computer. If you're wondering how I'm doing it, I have the link in the description. It is an affiliate link. That means I get something for recommending it from you guys. So it is just appreciated if you guys actually use that link. If you are going to download BlueStacks, we'll drop it to the most updated BlueStacks version as well. So that's pretty much how I'm playing this game on PC. And keep in mind, you cannot use BlueStacks on iOS. So you have to go into Windows, and that's how I'm able to do it. I like it because there are some shortcuts that you can do. So as you can see here, we can have shortcuts. If I click space, if I click F to find, you can change it. There are all these stuff that are pretty neat being in a PC version. All right. Now, today, the question is, what is the best faction in Call of Dragons? So, I introduced three factions in here, right? The Springwardens, League of Order, and Wilderburg. Now, the Springwardens, they are the elves. The League of Orders, they are the humans. And then the Wilderburg, which is the orc. And I initially started off with Wilderburg. Now, to begin this, we need to understand how to decide on choosing what is the right faction to start off the game. In Season 1, I would really recommend for people to choose the faction of the League of Order, because this will allow you to have overall gather speed. In Season 1, what I've noticed in here, in the early game, is that there is not a lot of combat. There's not a lot of war. Everyone is trying to grow. Seems like a lot of the players in here are already like, either they're coming from a group and they're like really focused on growth. So I chose Wilderburg in the very beginning because I was like, okay, I want to find something that is a PvP. But, choosing the League of Order is really good to start off with. And once you reach level 10, you are also going to obtain an item within the game that will allow you to change faction. All right. So we talked about the early game in here. I recommend that, you choose League of Order for the early game. And you also get Wildir as a hero, which is a good hero. Now, also, another option that you can do in the early game is the Springwarden, because the Springwarden will grant you healing speed, but it's only 5%. Now, that will help you a lot when it comes to combat. Now, with my experience, I've chosen Wilderburg. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. The destruction engineering is not that really helpful because, like I said, there's not a whole lot of war. And in the Legion physical attack, it is okay. It is 3%. It does help out. But again, not a whole lot of combat war PvP going on. All right, so now let's break down all three of this. Now, we've given you advice for the starting faction. Now, let's talk about Springwarden in here. Springwarden is, as I mentioned, is an elf-based faction. You are going to get Gwanwyn as a starting hero. You're going to get a marksman, peacekeeping, and precision attributes from Gwanwyn. You are going to be able to get your archers. You're going to get your infantry, which is the Ironbank Trent. You're going to get your mage, which is, you can see the symbols in here. All right, a symbol there right here beside the name. This is a Longleaf Trent. And then you're also going to get Wolf Elk, which is the basically a siege type of unit, which is a transport unit. And you're going to get Elk Riders, and then your flying unit will be Forest Eagle. Now, a very important thing to kind of look into here is that looking into the stats, I'd say this is pretty much on your own due diligence in here. I'm just going to show you guys some of the information that we have here. You can see that the Forest Eagle in here It's a physical attack. And if we compare that into a flying unit from the human race, Celestials, this is now a magic attack, but it's also a flying unit. So maybe we'll have a new video coming up soon that we will compare each troop unit type. For now, as you guys can see, that they may be the same unit type, but they will have a different attack output. Either one is magic or one is physical. So I will have a more dedicated video for this. Make sure you tune in, subscribe, and turn your notification on. Now let's talk about the League of Order. League of Order has these Vestals, which are mage, and then their infantry are swordsmen, archers are ballistas, and then workhorses are transport units, cavalry are called knights, and then the flying units are called celestials. And then the starting hero for this is Wilder, which is a good hero. A lot of people actually use Wilder. Magic, PvP, and skills. Now, Wilderburg will give you Bakar as a starting hero. Bakar has an attribute of infantry, garrison, and skills. Let me give you my professional advice here to you. That, if you're choosing a starting hero, the garrison is not really going to give you a lot of benefit, because when you start into the game, the reality is that there's going to be players who spends money into the game, and they're going to invest in better heroes than Bakar. You're most likely just going to use Bakar in the open field. But yes, you can use Bakar in the garrison to protect yourself in the early stage, but it's not really something that I would really recommend, and I would really just gear you towards to, working on Wilder. But, so like I said, I started off with the Wilderburg. We got Bakar. I did use it when I got rallied. It did help, but for most cases, for majority of the situation, you are not going to really need Bakar in the early stage. And once you get into the late stage, you're going to max out most of the epic heroes in the season 2 and so on. And you're going to be investing in a much better hero for defending your garrison. All right, so let's talk about the special unit here. The infantry will be axemen. The spearmen are going to be the archer. The mage will be the satyr witches. The transport unit are work rhinos. And there's some key stuff in here to kind of pay attention. Like whenever you use a work rhino, you get extra resource when they exhaust the resource point. So if you look into some of this, there's no extra here. Just the workhorses gives you a higher load capacity when gathering. And then if you look into here, transport units of the Springwarden, they have a large statue. They are surprisingly swift when they gather. The legions composed of work elf have a faster march speed when moving towards the resource point. So everything has their own little specialty in here. So the Wolf Rider is the cavalry, and then the flying units are Wyvern Riders. So the question now is, what is the best faction currently in Call of Dragons? As I've mentioned, I would suggest the best starting faction would be the League of Orders, because you are going to get Wilder. But honestly, another option to do for starting faction is also the Springwarden. You are going to get heal speed bonus in here, 5%. That means that you're going to be able to get more free healing per day. So whenever you're fighting all those behemoths that you're struggling, you get, you can basically heal faster from that. You get faster marching speed, and also you get the hero Guanwin, which is also very good. This is a peacekeeping and also a marksman, which is also good because it deals a lot of damage towards to peacekeeping units. And also the marksman does really well in terms of raiding behemoths. Now, the benefit that you get from the League of Order, you get that overall gather speed. Kind of disregard a little bit the magic defense, but it does help when you are in combat. Now, the gather speed will allow you to gather resources so much faster in the game. 10% makes a lot of difference when you're thinking about long-term playing. The Wilderburg, I don't recommend it, as I've mentioned earlier. Now, if you are creating a farm account, I would then recommend to use League of Order for a farm account, because you are going to have an overall gather speed of 10% and a bigger load capacity that will help you to farm resources much better. Do not use Springwarden for a farm account. Do not use a Wilderburg for a farm account. Only use League of Order. That's the only thing I would really recommend for you for farm accounts. Now, as you move into the late stage of the game, as I mentioned, early stage, you can choose a Springwarden or League of Order. Now, if you move into the late stage of the game, you will now really focus on what your role is. as you figure out and navigate in Call of Dragons, you need to figure out what type of role you want to play. Then, special units really take effect in your open field combat. Now, when it comes to rallying, it may be a little bit different on how you approach it in comparison to open field. Because in a rally, unit types will join you, but they'll have all their different specification. It won't even matter unless you are a leadership that is able to manage to hone in and tell people that only this type of special unit can enter, but it's most likely not going to happen that way. So, in the late stage, you figure out your role, you figure out what you want, whether you want to be a Cavs main or an infantry, marksman, mage, flying unit, or multiple. So you need to figure out what special unit do I want in terms of what faction do I want. All right. So like I said, I'll make a video more in detail about the special unit in the future. But for now, let me give you this information. If you're looking into the late stages of the game, right? If you're thinking about switching faction, you have that free when you get to level 10. Yeah, and I would really recommend you to look into Wilderburg, because then now, let's say you are doing a lot of combat, then Legion physical attack damage does help out significantly. Now, Wilderburg will actually be good for those who are spenders in the game that are leading rallies, leading garrison defense, because you're getting that extra 3% physical attack that will benefit on any type of units in here. Like I said, the specialty units will not really matter as much, because as everybody joins your garrison, everybody joins your rally, they're all going to be different special units from different factions. The only thing that I find very difference in here is the, flying units. The flying units in here have differences of modes of attack. You can see that the flying units from Springwardens, they are physical. From League of Order, they are magic. When we go back to Wilderburg, they're also going to be physical units as well. So you can see here, Riven Riders, physical attack. Now, another thing to mention, whenever you do rally for cavalry, it doesn't even matter if your Springwarden has range, because when you do rally, it is in a close combat. So overall, I would say late game faction would be really good for Wilderburg. And then I would say go for Springwarden for, faction buff, because you are getting heal speed plus 5% and also Legion March speed, which is more crucial than ever, because whenever you are in a big combat, you will definitely see barricades, which is going to slow you down, and having that extra 5% either can allow you to evade or charge in. Now, the League of Order, it's okay. I would probably put this as my third choice in the late stages of the game. You will probably have a farm account, and it's going to supply you resources per week. And then the Legion defense in here, not everybody does magic defense, so keep that in mind. Some of the range combats in here does physical damage, so you're not really going to benefit a whole lot. So I would say go for either Wilderburg, depending on your role, or the Springwardens. The Springwardens is also really good for free to play. So with that being said, hopefully this video is helpful and allow you to decide which faction you're going to choose in the starting of your game, and also in the middle of the game as you are getting stronger and more powerful. Let me know in the comment section below which faction you chose when you first started the game, and did you change based on this video? Or are you a brand new player and you have not chosen a faction and you watched this video? Let me know what you end up choosing in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video is helpful. Press like onto the video, and I'll see you guys again next time. Again, I'm Shinchi42. I create regular Call of Dragons content. Peace out.